Welcome back to the National Pulses Seminar. Our next panel is the Beans panel that will be led by Ms. Katia Sambin, Sales and Marketing Director, Chippewa Valley Bean. Katia, an Italian born but European at heart with humanities background. She has a degree as a German interpreter and translator, along with a BA honors in linguistics. She's currently pursuing a master's in applied linguistics. Katia is passionate about the world of pulses involving collaborating with farming communities, NGOs, scientific bodies, philanthropic organizations, value chain groups, and most importantly, the ever changing consumer market. Ms. Samin, a specialized canning market trader, has worked on market access and trade barriers with focus on industrial commodity trading. She firmly believes that pulses provide the answer to our growing concerns about food security, sustainability, and long term health. Ms. Salmon is currently serving on the FAO World Pulses Day Steering Committee and has in the past served on the advisory board of the UN Committee of Food Security, representing the private sector. The 2016 International Year of Pulses Steering Committee, heading stakeholder relations, and also the FAO Multi Stakeholder Working Group for CFS RAI Principles of Responsible Agriculture Investments. Thank you very much, everybody, for being on this panel here today. Over to you, Katia.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Welcome, IPGA members, to the third IPGA National Pulses Seminar and this 2021 Bean panel. My name is Katia Sambin. I work for Chippewa and GPC at institutional level, and I'm particularly active in World Pulse Day, like Pradeep just said. So may I straight away thank IPGA for the enabling environment provided here and for demonstrating once more that we can all be close while keeping our distance during these socially challenging times. So thank you for that, and be safe while you join our conference today. So moving on this Bean panel serving today fellow panelists from diverse locations all over the world. And distinguished guests today are Ankit Gupta from Ankit Impex India. So Ankit is a third-generation businessman. He is a qualified company secretary and has been in the family business for the last 12 years. We understand that Ankit Impex deals with both import and export of beans and is active throughout the world. Now, stepping in from Brazil at the very last moment, we thank Rodrigo Madeira, who replaces Marcelo Luders and is a co-partner in the same business. I understand. So thank you, Rodrigo, for being with us at the last minute today. And last but not least, we have Tewodros Yilma from Alpha Trading, Ethiopia. Tewodros is managing director of Alpha Trading, and he's engaged in every agro product originating from Ethiopia. He's also the vice president of the Ethiopian Pulse and Oilseed Exporters Association and has been sitting on the executive board of GPC for many years, actively contributing to the extensive knowledge output of GPC India and represents GPC at regional level as vice president. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here today and sharing your knowledge with us. I would say, as a general introduction, that undoubtedly have been very much that was marketed during 2020, and we ended up with a global pandemic. Now, what will the 2021 scenario await, and what will seeding intentions currently taking place in the Northern Hemisphere mean for the near-term or long-term future of beans. So some of these enticing questions lay ahead, and perhaps while we welcome a Q&A from our audience today that we could also share at the end of each presentation, perhaps we can start by welcoming Ankit to the floor for his presentation of the bean situation in his part of the world. Ankit, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Katia. Hello, everyone. Good evening from India. Thank you, IPJ, for having me here. It's a great honor to be with you all. Today, I'll be discussing about Indian colored beans. To begin with Indian domestic crop, India's consumption approx 125,000 ton of kidney beans annually. 100,000 ton is importing from various countries and 25,000 is from domestic production. Let me share the presentation. Geographical state producing various kind of kidney beans in India. Firstly, LSKB origin of Maharashtra produce approximate 10,000 tons annually. First harvest in September, another mid of January. Due to adverse weather condition in Maharashtra crop was not up to expectation, the crop was damaged due to which scarcity of good quality beans result in imbalance of demand and supply. Another colored beans produced in Maharashtra, that is black beans, approx 2,000 tons. This year we have received a soft harvest of 50% crop. Another colored beans, moving to small red kidney beans produced in Maharashtra. Moving to small red kidney beans produced in Andhra Pradesh, approx 5,000 tons, harvest at December. We see a slight quantity of LSKB around 600 metric ton. Last but the least, Bihar for red speckled kidney beans, approx 6,000 ton, harvest at April. Coming up to various countries, India importing from China is one of our oldest and reliable supplier of kidney beans. With an annual import of LSKB 40,000 tons and RKB 3,000 tons. From last 2-3 years, Brazil and South Africa are also competing in LSKB market of India. Whereas India import various colored beans from Ethiopia, specifically RKB, LSKB, RSKB. Year 2019, import of these three commodities were total 23,500 tons, whereas last year 2020 import was 16,500 tons. 30% short import we have seen. Myanmar, known for dark red kidney bean, last year import 16,000 tons. Then we move on to Kyrgyzstan, supplies small red kidney beans to India. Import figures are increased by 20% as in year 2019, 4,600 tons, and year 2020, 5,500 tons. India also imports slight quantity of kidney beans from many other countries like Uganda, Kenya, Argentina, Uzbekistan, Tanzania, US, Canada, etc. with a total approx of 2,000 tons. Depending upon demand and supply in India, it varies from 2,000 tons to 3,000 tons. Summary LSKB. Now I'll be highlighting light speckled kidney beans. Due to unfavorable weather conditions, this year we see a short supply of new crop from China, affecting quality of beans. Chinese farmers switching the production of LSKB to soya for better return of their investment with the support of their local government, which impact we could see in near future. As you can see the difference, year 2019, LSKB import from China from October to December was 10,300 tons. As compared to year 2020, total import was 7,300 metric ton, out of which only 2,000 ton was new crop, resulting in 30% short supply this year. As we look forward to LSKB market in Brazil, the statistics were very unpredictable. In 2018, from September to December, LSKB import were 8,000 tons. As in year 2019, first shipment was arrived in July month. From July to December, 14,000 tons were imported. Due to huge delay in supply from Brazil in 2020 crop, only 2,000 metric ton arrived till December. We see a significant progress in supply of LSKB from South Africa. As in year 2019, 2,800 metric ton, and followed by year 2020, 4,300 metric ton. This year, LSKB listed on ECX commodities in Ethiopia. We face a trade difficulty from Ethiopia. As we conclude, comparing to year 2019, from June to December, LSKB import were 44,000 ton. As in year 2020, last 7 months it was just 26,000 metric ton. Import figures are almost 60% short compared to previous year. Then we move on to Myanmar dark red kidney beans. Due to certain restriction on import of pulses from Myanmar to India, growers in Myanmar have diminished the pulses production, and they are more fascinated towards the bean production. As a result, we have seen increment in import and supply of DRKB in India. As you can see, in year 2019, total import was 9,500 tons from Myanmar to India of DRKB. Then followed by year 2020, it was 16,000 tons. Import figure are almost 60% more as compared to previous years. Thank you, Ms. Katia. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Ankit. Very interesting scenario there, and some challenging conditions too. I wonder what lays ahead for the 2021 scenario. Perhaps at this stage we could hear from one of your main suppliers for speckled beans, for example, from Brazil. Rodrigo, first of all, thank you very much for joining us at the last minute and stepping in for Marcelo. Would you like to say what the situation looks like your end of the supply chain for speckled beans in particular, please?
Yes. Thank you, dear Katia. It's an honor for me to talk on behalf of Marcelo, and I want to thank you, IPGA too, yeah. And I expect to help you with the Brazilian information, yeah. The market last year was really unusual in the whole world, but we are still having reflexes of the pandemic that will last a long time. At Correpar, for example, we were working from home since March 2020, and big companies here in Brazil and banks expect to have all of their employees back to work by the next year. Why do I'm telling you about it? With the COVID-19 pandemic, many people have to stay at home, and post-consumption increased unexpectedly by about 12% to a total to 2.8 million tons in Brazil. So I'm gonna share my screen. This one. So that is the situation in Brazil. We have fastest changes. With the pandemic, consumption increased by about 20%. We have total production of 2 million metric tons. And the interesting thing, what happened here is the consumption at first was due to influence of the aid that Brazilian government provided. And at the moment, it continues to give to low-income people. With the COVID and lockdown, many stayed at home and started to consume more rice, beans, and other pulses, as these kind of foods are relatively cheaper foods that can be in storage for longer. So this money coming from the government was mostly used to buy and stock basic foods as rice and beans, as many employees could lose his jobs during the pandemic. Another factor that has influenced this increase in consumption of foods is the growing number of vegetarians or vegans in Brazil, today by around 30 million people. They used to consume animal protein and move it to plant protein, and the best alternative is pulses. For example, a few years ago, when we received a vegetarian or vegan customers, we had a hard time to find a restaurant that offered this option. It was not easy, but today is different. As many people declaring vegan or vegetarian, more offers appears, more restaurants, more chefs doing vegan or vegetarian foods. Influencers on Facebook and Instagram are posting the benefits, and cuisine chefs are posting dishes specific for vegans. Just to inform, for example, just yesterday on the posts the best. And the last reason of the growing is the growing wave of the new plant proteins. This has taken on a very large proportion worldwide, and in Brazil is not different. So this scenario is changing really fast. If we change for a new slide, we can see how the situation here is changing. For example, if we see the Brazilian historic pulses on 2010 to 2020, we can see we have a bigger increase. But sincerely, for 2020, we didn't figure it out. We could have export increasing, but even with all of the problems we have here in Brazil, if you see, we have an increase, like, for example, almost, just let me check the kilograms, from 166,000 tons to 177,000 tons. So even with this hard scenario here, we have 11,000 more exporting to worldwide. So what is the most exported beans from Brazil? By this slide, you can see we are exporting a lot of mung, then followed by brown eye, light speckled, and dark red kidney beans. Last year, we started with a bigger number of dark red kidney beans, adzuki, and then small quantities for black kidney beans, chickpeas, and another common dry beans and peas. So that's the situation we are having here in Brazil. If you go to the next slide, you can check some of the challenges we will have for the dry beans here in Brazil. The bids being received from the worldwide, for example, for brown eye beans, it's around $900 cost and freight. To July, to light speckled, it's around 1,350. So the prices are really high and rising now pulses all around the world. The area in Brazil can be less when we compare with the last years. For example, many of the guys here have a window to seed. For example, in Brazil, the growers usually plant soya and then they decide for corn or dry beans. This year in Brazil, they started with the soya, but as we had a big discharge here in Brazil, the crop delayed a little bit to harvest. So we expected that these growers should plant dry beans, because dry beans, it's faster, it's taking some risks, and they will plant corn even with in the final of the crop, in the harvest. Maybe they can get some rain and lose the crop. So this is a challenge here in Brazil. That's why the point number 2 says attractive corn prices. Here in Brazil, most of the costs are made in dollar, and things like, for example, fertilizer, chemicals, freight, fuel are rising. So the costs are rising too. And just to understand what is happening here in the farms, the prices here for brown eye bean, it's around $800. Light speckled, it's around 1,270, and carioca beans 1,050. So this is the cost in the farms. Then we have to add, for example, logistic costs like trucks. Most of the transportation here in Brazil, it's done by trucks until Paranaguá port. It's something like 2,000 kilometers or 3,000 kilometers. So we have a high cost here, high cost for logistics. And that's the situation. Right now, we don't have a specific scenario, because growers right now are deciding if they will plant, for example, corn or dry beans. That's why we are trying to figure it out. But as an invitation for everybody, on May, we're going to have 80 Brazilian Pulses Forum here in Brazil. This forum will be online and will be really interesting, because we can gather here, for example, like 90% of the growers of Brazil, dry bean growers, exporters, packers, machineries. So I invite all you guys in advance to stay with us. Thank you for the time for you.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. Thank you for your presentation. I must say there are several points in which I can see resemblance to North Americans and also European markets, especially when you said about the increase of consumption because of smart working, but also the dramatic increase in vegetarianism. And that is a consequence of, perhaps, of a greater awareness of the role of pulses to our health these days. What do you think? Might be. And thank you for sharing the numbers and especially market prices for current crops. It's very interesting. So as we move on, because I understand time is of yes, we take some. I can see there is also one question, but we'll take it later for the panel. So Tewodros, if you like, you have the floor.
Thank you, Katia. Firstly, I would like to thank IPGA for organizing the third National Pulses Seminar and for inviting me to share the current pulses situation in Ethiopia. Let me try to share my slide. See, so you can see the slide, right?
Yes, Tewodros, we do.
Okay, all right then. Great. So let me just hold on. Yeah, let me try to show the outline of my presentation. I'll be talking about I'll try to show you the major regions in pulse production and production volume by crop type, and during the last 3 years, the export related data, major export destination and their relative contribution, challenges of pulses exporters in Ethiopia, and changes face of the world. So let's start by the pulses producing regions. We have a major 5 regions in Ethiopia. I hope everyone who's on this virtual conference knows where Ethiopia is situated in Eastern Africa. Among those 5 major regions, Oromia region produce the largest volume of pulses, which consists of around 44%, followed by Amhara region, that's 39%, and southern nationalities, that's 13%, and northern Ethiopia, that is Tigray region, 2%. When we see about the production, the biggest production volume, which shows continuous increase, is faba beans. Faba beans in the current and just ended year, 2019-2020, Ethiopia produced a little, over 1 million tons of faba beans. We consume faba usually, and followed by lentils. Lentils also highly consumed in Ethiopia. Actually, lentils is not allowed to export. It's banned because of the high consumption. And the third one is the white pea beans and the red kidney beans. Those are the third largest, and then the chickpeas. Recently, and interestingly, the soya beans and green mung beans are also showing increase on the production because of the high demand coming from different international markets. Actually, green mung beans currently we're having an issue of short supply in the current year. However, in the previous years, we have been exporting a large volume from Ethiopia. This is the graph on the production. You see the faba beans is the largest, even if in different years, faba beans followed by the chickpeas. When we see the export data, the biggest here is soya bean. Soya bean on the just ended year 2019-2020, Ethiopia exported around 85,000 metric tons. It's very big volume for us compared to the previous years. Actually, we have even exported almost 110,000 tons, which is almost the same production we have at that time, which was on 2017-2018. However, this year, current year 2020, there are many oil crushing companies which came into the market for oil crushing. Now they are buying the soybean locally, and we are facing a little bit shortage of supply also on that one because it's being sold to the local crushers. And the second, at that time, for example, in 2020, if we see the price, the average price of soya beans were traded around at $475 a ton on FOB label. And the second one was green mung beans. Green mung beans, Ethiopia exported around 60,000 metric tons, a little over 60,000 metric tons in 2019-2020. And the average price were around $950 on FOB basis. And the third is white pea beans, the navy beans. Almost a little over 50,000 tons were exported, and the average price were around $780. All these figures are for 2019-2020. This is not showing, we don't have any accurate data for the current period right now. When we have that, we'll share it with you, of course, through our association to IPGA. And this is a graph of export volume. It also shows by the products and the export by the volume. When we see the destination markets, we have large markets, but our number one, the biggest market is India, of course. India have been a big market for Ethiopia for quite some time now. Of course, it changed year to year, but still it's a big market. The second one is Indonesia. Mostly green mung beans goes to Indonesia. And the third one is Turkey, and the fourth is Vietnam. So these are the destination, the major destinations we have right now. In general, our pulse market is changing gradually from concentrated market to diversified market, which is good for the market, of course, for the exporters. But still, we also have big challenges in the current season. Current season, weather were not favorable. And as most of you know, in East Africa, there were a desert locust, including Ethiopia, which created a lot of damage on many crops, which created a challenge on the supply side locally here. On the export side, a high number of new entrants, new exporters are joining the sector. The sector has become very attractive for many because of it generates a hard currency. As you may know, I'm not sure, but there is a huge foreign currency shortage in Ethiopia. Due to that fact, many are entering, they export, and they are using the currency to import their raw material or whatever products they want to import. So because of that reason, many are coming, production is not increasing. So whatever product is produced or coming into the market is distributed to hundreds and hundreds of exporters. And that has become a big challenge. And the other one is the ECX market. The ECX market has a continuous system failure. It has become a big problem for the exporters. And this has become a big challenge, especially green mung beans, for example. If we see this year, out of the usual 55, 60,000 tons of export, we can say almost nothing has come to the market. A very small quantity sold between new and old crop in the current period, and distributed almost to 111 exporters, and everyone got less than a container product, which is unexportable quantity. So that has become a big challenge for us. And the other one is soybean, which I explained earlier, which is going to the newly established oil crushing factories, and the supply is relatively short. So we are in all these challenges. So we are trying to do our usual export business. The other is, of course, it's been solved. I mean, being improved a lot. It's the pesticide issues we have on the white pea beans. The problem pertains to the white pea beans exported to different destinations in European countries, because the EU has got its own established MRL for each pesticide. From what we observed, there is a limit. Their limit is more stringent than any other countries like USA, Russia, and other destinations. Actually, in the past 2 years, the problem has decreased significantly because of the government intervention and their hard work, which we really appreciate and thankful for that. But still, it needs more attention and to maintain the good work. So that's it. And these are the things I can see about the current situation of the pulses in Ethiopia. And in this world we live in, so many things are changing so fast. And of course, world population is growing, global food production is stagnating, food demand increasing, global income rising, eating habits changing, subsidies declining, cost of agriculture input increasing, urbanization increasing, climate is changing. All this would be a main factor which can tell us that we should increase productivity. Not only that, but also we are on the right trading sector. I thank you very much. Happy World Pulses Day. And that's it for today, Katia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tewodros. That was very interesting. I share a lot of interest in Ethiopia, and I am aware of the enormous trade barriers that the country operates under, and the global challenges that lay ahead. Do you think that the situation with the ECX is an ongoing improvement on a consultation basis? Do you see that becoming better in the future, or is it a non-negotiable situation in your?
Well, Katia, first of all, we have to understand that ECX is just a platform It's a market where the sellers and the buyers meet. It's a physical market, which has a plan also for the future to include future markets as well. Right now, for the physical market, government is highly committed to continue with the commodity exchange at this government institution to stay in place as a trading platform. As many of you know that it started with sesame and small white pea beans and coffee. Now it included all the pulses, be it light speckled beans, red speckled beans, all the speckled beans, including pinto, cream beans, black beans, red kidney beans, green mung beans, everything in there. So everybody has to go there and buy the product, process and export. That is expected from by the government from the export. The problem we are seeing right now, productivity is not there. Production is not increasing. Whatever I showed you on the productivity side is not making a significant change on the productivity. And but still, the interest of international market and also the number of exporters involved in the sector is increasing significantly. So whatever products coming into the market is distributed, scattered to many exporters. And what we are buying right now, we are putting if you go to major exporters warehouses, you can see many products which are unexportable because of the volume. Most of it are not even full containers to export. So it's very difficult. In the previous time, when the number of exporters were limited, we could have both. I mean, we could have like doing 10 containers a week. We can buy from the ECX, process and export within a week time. You can buy a good volume from the ECX. Right now, that's not happening, and there are issues. There are resistance from many of the exporters who were mainly dominated the pulses market from the producing areas, who are not happy that these products are included in the ECX, because they know once it's included in the ECX, it will be available for everybody. So the platform will be open for everybody to bid and to buy. But still, there is not enough. If there were enough products in the market, there were no problem at all. Whatever number of exporters joined the sector, it would have not been a problem. But the issue is the productivity issue, and the demand is so high. And the demand became so huge because of the dollar shortage. Everybody wants the dollar. And unless you go into this sector and generate your own foreign currency, hard currency, you will not be able to get foreign currency for import of anything, whatever you need for your manufacturing, for material, or what. Yeah. So these are the biggest challenges we are facing right now. So, but mainly for your the question, the direct answer is, I don't think the government will have any intention at this right moment to I don't know what to dismantle or to close down the ECX as a market, because they are committed to continue with it. And
no, of course.
As a government, actually, they are saying they are benefiting out of it because they control the supplies, they see all the data clearly, whatever is exporting, what is coming from the farmers, and also all the players are in the system, in the tax system, all these things are there, so it's helping them a lot. So yeah. the government side, they are happy with it.
Of course, Tewodros. So my point was that, of course, the ECX is a very good idea. It provides an enabling platform for stakeholders to join the pulse world and the coffee and the commodities trade. At the same time, like you just said, it also offers some trade barriers that are difficult to overcome in the marketplace. As you see, I saw, you also said about pesticides and everything. So let's hope that these can be overcome, and we continue to see this origin grow as it deserves to do, since we're all dependent on Ethiopian production and origination. So moving on from this, I know we only have a little bit of time to go, and we have a few questions, and one of them comes from, and I apologize if I mispronounce it, Mr. Maulik Mahershwari. So probably a question for Ankit. And Mr. Maheshwari is asking, what are the bean prices at the moment in India? Would you like to address that question, Ankit?
Yeah, sure. I think if Ms. Malik, if he be more specific about which beans they are asking. As I tell about my side, the beans price, if we compare the last year, the beans price, we see a huge increase in price. Like LSKB, if China, I compare last year, the price this time in February was 1100 US dollar, C&F Navashiva. And due to the shortage and the quality is not good this year, we can say that the price currently we are getting above 1500 US dollar. And from Brazil, we are not getting any offers from Brazil LSKB as they are very short this year. The harvest is also very delay. As I mentioned in my presentation, last year we received first shipment in July month, and this 2020 we received in December. So there was a huge delay from Brazil side. So we didn't expect that situation. And Ethiopia is the same problem we faced. We didn't receive any cargo from their side in much quantity. So from the LSKB point of view, the prices are, we can say, in a short 30% increase as compared to last year. And if I move on to red kidney beans, which we receive from Myanmar and Tanzania, more or less the same prices we are getting, but from Myanmar also, the price are almost same. Last year it was 950 US dollar, and this year we are getting around 1030 US dollar. But the issue is currently the logistics issue was there. The freight was 700 US dollar, but now the freight is above 1500 US dollar. So it is almost double the freight. So we can say that it will impact the price of Myanmar DRKB. But we are expecting a good crop this year. So this is
Excellent. Thank you, Ankit. I hope this answers the question. A wide-ranging scenario there. I think logistics have impacted and are still impacting severely our trade at this moment. We have, especially in North America, a congested situation on each side of the oceans, Pacific and Atlantic, for example. But there is a further question that would be for Tewodros from Prandeep Jindal asking what quality control is in place through ECX in Ethiopia. If you could answer that briefly, then we move on to North America very shortly and we take final questions.
Yeah,
so, quality through ECX.
Yeah, ECX. Well, they have their own quality control system. They have their own grading manuals, and they have their own laboratories in each receiving warehouses in different localities, of course. And based on the manuals, there are different grades which they receive, and they sell by grade as well. Mostly, the grade is based on the impurity level it has when it comes from the farmer side. So they control the quality, and we know when we buy grade 3 what kind of specifications it has. Did that answer the question of the gentleman?
I think it could answer. Yes, I think DCX provided a grading, which is a guarantee of the lot that you're purchasing.
Well, that's not a guarantee. No, that's not a guarantee.
I think
that's not a guarantee. Sometimes.
Well, it's the specification that you're purchasing.
You get grade 4. Sometimes such kind of problems happens. I don't want to deny that.
No, of course. You should be relating to the ECI for that. But if they give you grade 3, you should be expecting a grade 3.
Yeah, that's also another challenge.
So, I think I understand, I'm very aware of the challenging scenario of Ethiopia, but nevertheless, we keep growing because we are dependent on Ethiopia for so many products, and because of strategic location, the quality of the product. So we'll keep the interest going, and I'm sure the government will deal with the opportunities that lie ahead. At the end of the day, any mechanism needs oiling, needs practice, and needs to face a different scenario around it. And for sure, 2021 is going to be as difficult as 2020, probably. So as we welcome new questions from the audience, if you would like to send any questions in, we can briefly move on to my presentation regarding North America now. And here we are. So North America is very much in the same situation as any other farming community in, I think I lost connection. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay, it just dropped for a second. So North America is very much in the same farming situation as any other part of the world in the Northern Hemisphere. Farmers are complaining about lack of seed, especially, but mostly they are in this difficult situation whether to choose for corn and soy or to invest in beans. Beans in particular, as you know, are difficult to grow and to harvest, therefore requiring more investment, both timely and expertise. So as we look at North America, we are averaging the last 3 years production, which we can see here. Discussing Pinto in particular, we can see the numbers for USA and Canada combined. So last year, due to the increased consumer demand and the resource that were found, USA especially saw a bumper crop for right through all bean classes, apart perhaps from cranberry that didn't see such a huge rise as everything else. Will this be protracted into 2021? At the moment, we do not think so. But let's look at numbers for so far. So the average Pinto production has been 510,000 metric tons for America. Last year, exceeding this quota by a lot. Pinto, as you know, are very much sought after in the market. Since we are also being asked for pricing, at the moment they are very scarce to be found. What is left over is a grade 2, for example, and prices are well over $1,100. Then as we move into cranberries like speckled beans, I think globally the market is still suffering from the lack of supply from China, which is the big missing origin in this scenario. And again, as you see, average last 3 years, 29,000 tons, now dropping dramatically. What will we do next year? We don't know. I'm sure Rodrigo might help us on this scenario. But cranberries, especially in the USA, are not as popular as they used to be. Now we move on to navy pea beans. Navy beans in North America, big item for canners, for industries in Europe, in the Middle East, and in many other parts of the world. Competition for Ethiopia as well. So bean production has increased last year. This is also despite, bear in mind that the US origination, not cattle, but US origination has a trade barrier into EU market of plus 25% duty. But still, production has increased. And at the moment, I would say the market is still very strong. So average 244,000 tons for the last 3 years. Will the momentum of growth that we saw in 2020 be ongoing? We don't know at the moment. Great Northern beans, a very special bean type grown in the North American continent. There has been a growth in last seeding season, and it's a popular bean to selected markets, for example, France. Will we see this again? 77,000 tons in the last 3 years average. This might not be replicated. Now, black bean production. Black bean is a sought after bean in the market at the moment. USA responded last seeding season very well by increasing dramatically its production. Still, during this year, we are short of black beans. People are not offering, prices are very high. And seeding intentions are in to be a strong player in the mid-market for 21 too. Now, light red and dark reds are very particular beans, very much sought after despite the EU trade barrier, for example. Light speckled, light red into the Caribbean are very popular. At the moment, they are unavailable, they're sold out, and new crop is being sought after. So as you see, 46,500 average in the last 3 years, dramatic increase again last year, all sold out. Dark reds, Chippewa beans commodity, by the way. Again, USA, despite what were the forecasts, to be honest, managed to have a bumper crop in 2020. This harvest saw some challenges, but is very much sought after still in the marketplace. Beans from North America are severely affected by logistics challenges at the moment. The Montreal port has been blocked for weeks, and there is a severe congestion. So at the moment, this is the summary of the growth that we saw in the last 3 years of all bean classes from North America. And as you can see, cranberry bean is the one that has not increased as much, although, you know, when you see a double figure of 23%, really, it's not bad at all.